So, hello and welcome back, guys, to another live trade recap. So, today we are going to be doing the trade recap that I've taken on Monday, 18th May 2026. So, yeah, let's just jump right into the trade recap. So, going on to the London session, initially I had thought that we definitely will keep continuing the high time frame trend, and as you can see, the market started initially it started going to the downside, but eventually it ran through this 1 hour IVG and eventually went on to mitigate this 30-minute gap and eventually, first, my thought process while the London session opened at 3:12:30 here in Indian time, 12:30 here. Now, first thought process was we can either come back and initially tap this 15-minute fair value gap and we can go to the upside. Or the second thing was we could just directly continue to the upside without any retracement. So then there was a 15-minute gap formed here, very small 15-minute gap. If you see this 15 gap, so I used this as the invalid or validation point, and that was technically like you think I could say like this was completely a rush trade in my opinion because looking at it back, I would have not definitely not entered this trade because if you see here, there is a bunch of bullshit happening. The market is sideways. Then we break through the 15-minute gap. Then again we engulf that gap. At this point, I should have just said, "Fuck this, just get off the chart." Okay, but I decided to keep on trading because this is what 6 minutes after the market open. See, now two mistakes that I made here. So at this point, the nearest drawn liquidity is this, whatever this bullshit is, and the intermediate high. This intermediate green line means new accession, red line means not always, but red line here it doesn't mean anything, but most of the time red line does mean that we are in the this is the Asian like Asian session. So yeah, that was the only thing. And as we broke through this, now in my mind, I thought that maybe we could initially come to inverse this 15-minute gap and we could continue to the upside. So I could just catch this move and call it a day. So that's why I targeted a reversal move. If you see here also, yesterday it was a reversal kind of a trade. Okay, so yeah, then as you know, I like it was a little bit discretionary also, and there was no change the state of delivery available as well. Because most of the time, what I'm doing is once the market it looks like it's going to have a CISD, then I take the entry. But like 9 out of 10 times, that doesn't happen. Okay, so I need to improve a little bit on that. The like me prefiring a change the state of delivery. So at this point, technically, see that time while I was trading this yesterday, I was thinking that maybe we could reject this 30-minute consecutive encroachment and we could head to the downside because it's the 5 minute rejected that perfectly. But yeah, it didn't ended up playing as I had expected. As you can see at this point, this candle. So while this candle was in play, if you see 30 seconds, so this candle it closed here technically in 1 minute, but while the market was at 30 seconds, they had placed the entry. And as this candle flipped, like 80% in my heart, I was like, yeah, we are fucked. Because technically at this point, there is no way for the market to just take a little bit retracement until and unless there is some weird shit happening. Because at this point, the nearest drawn liquidity is supposed to be this intermediate high, and we should break through the upside because technically we're in a nice bullish trend. I technically expected a little bit pullback of the market to eventually continue to the upside, but that didn't happen. It just hit my stop loss like within 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. Let's see how much. Okay, it did give me a little bit hope, but yeah, just give a nice initial external sweep, then boom, it just stopped me out very quickly. I did get slipped out and I did lose a little bit more than I had expected. Yeah, at this point, like I got slipped. Like very weird shit sometimes happen like very quickly. Like yeah, so there is nothing explained. So yeah, at this point, the nearest drawn liquidity is definitely the intermediate high, which is present here. This is a New York high as well. So yeah, that was the I think so problem I had with this trade was yeah, but technically I followed my plan, but CSD was not available, and this it had generated liquidity, which definitely will most likely get taken, and there is another liquidity present as here as well, intermediate high. So yeah, on the first scenario, this should not have been a trade which I should consider, but technically I did take this trade. See, I'm just showing my see in this channel. I show losses, profit, everything, whatever it is, break even, loss, profit. I don't give a shit if one people watches, no one watches because take I Like I thoroughly watch all of my trade recap on a not on a regular basis, but on a weekly basis to make sure how what I'm improving, what I'm doing wrong. So yeah, like it doesn't matter if I lose 10 trades or win 10 trades. Okay. So yeah, that's this entire trade. Nothing much more to explain. It is a very simple trade in my opinion, but technically this trade should not have been happening. So yeah, that's it for this video. Bye bye. Take care. Peace out.